Hello patrons, so as you know, Michael has been the motivation for the content this week, and I have a very special experience that I want to share about sound, vibration, and healing that was motivated by Michael. So last night I was doom scrolling as usual, and because Michael has taken over the internet and socials, you know, everybody's indulging in Michael content, you know, his ideology about life, his music and the lyrics, his personal experiences as a human being on earth, his huge celebritydom and the impact that he has had. And what I realized is that because there's so much focus on him, it's raised a collective vibration that's connected to the heart space. Some of it's the resonance of his voice, the way he sings, and these two things are connected, which is one thing I didn't think about. Because his intentions were so pure and he was so childlike with his intentions, not saying he was a perfect person, but he was very childlike in his intentions. He sang from that, he expressed from that space. And again, we haven't talked about the chakras, but your heart chakra is expressed through your throat chakra. So if your heart is impure, you cannot speak your personal truth, or you speak whatever your heart has the capacity to share. And so when you have somebody like Michael, who is a singer, and he's connected to his truth in a childlike, very pure, intentional way, I think one of the reasons why he's saying in a lot of those falsetto notes is because the resonance and the frequency of the falsetto is connected to the heart. And if he knew that or not, I don't know. He was a musical genius, so he may have. But that sound resonates and penetrates the heart chakras of other people. And because it was so pure, the frequency had a lot of power behind it. When you can tap into somebody's heart space, there's a lot of subconscious energy. So there's a lot of subconscious energy in your heart space and in your pleasure center. So I'm always talking about how your unconscious mind is governed by your sacral chakra, which is really important for people to understand, because if you don't heal your sexual traumas or your guilt and shame around your sexuality, you will lack autonomy and agency and sovereignty around that area. And that means that anybody can program your unconscious mind just by making you feel guilt or shame around something that's your most authentic, or something that's natural or primal to who you are, something that you really can't change. And because you can't change it, you just force it down. But if somebody makes you feel guilt or shame around something about yourself that you cannot change, they can control you, right? And so, but there's a lot of subconscious emotions also that are in the heart chakra. And so if you can tap into that space as well, you can have a huge effect on how somebody feels about themselves, how they feel about the people around them, how they feel about how they fit into the community around them. Because your heart chakra is about self-acceptance. It's about having self-love. It's also about having compassion and patience for others. It's also where when your heart is light, you feel free and you can speak your truth. And when you can speak your truth, you can call in whatever it is that you want. And because his voice is being lifted up again in a huge way across the world with social media and the internet, because it's traveling much faster, he may even have, I don't want to say more influence than he did in the 90s, but he has way more influence than he did like in the early 2000s right now, because of social media and everybody listening to his songs and everybody missing him. And also them seeing his message is more relevant today than it ever was. But the whole point of this video is that as I was scrolling through, scrolling through all these Michael posts, I started to feel that too, to the point where I started to cry. And when I was crying, I started to cleanse, you know, I think some emotional baggage that I didn't know that I had. And I was able to release it. I also was able to recognize what was my own hurt that I was feeling around love and heartbreak and self-acceptance, and what was somebody else's heaviness. So a lot of times, again, the heart chakra is about self-acceptance, self-love, and compassion, but it's also about how you integrate into your community. So it's also about your interpersonal relationships, whether it be romantic relationships, platonic relationships, your family, and how you relate and how you connect. Sometimes we take on other people's stuff when we love them. And if you're an empath like myself, it's very easy to take on other people's problems and the heaviness of it energetically, even if you're not going through it. So it's like if you have a friend that has depression and you're around them all the time, it's very easy for you to take on those feelings even when you're not around. So what happened was I was kind of cleansing all of this energy through feeling compassion for Michael, and also relating to, feeling lonely, not always having friends, having pure intentions for wanting to help people and make the world a better place, especially for my community, the urban community, and for Black women and Black men and relationships and families. I could relate to all that. And then once I finally got off of my phone, I went to bed, I masturbated. Again, this is vibration. This is why this is so powerful for women, and vibrators are so powerful for people too, because the vibrations are so intense and they're able to penetrate the anatomy, your reproductive anatomy, in a way that something just on the outside can't do. It's the vibration that's able to penetrate through the body and stimulate the nerve endings. And so I was having a lot of Michael's songs in my head while I was masturbating. The energy of like love and compassion and pain, all of those things. So there was like music and mantras moving through my mind. My heart space was being activated because of everything that I was feeling that was brought up by being able to relate to Michael's personal story, along with the lyrics and things that he was singing about and the frequency in which his voice activates. And then I was stimulating my clitoris with this. So this is also vibration. So I had vibration coming here, and then also coming here. So third eye, heart, sacral. And the sacral and the third eye work in tandem. They work together. If you're blocked in your sacral chakra, you're going to be partially blocked here. If you're partially blocked here, you might have blockages down here as well. It affects how you see things, okay? And I had this huge orgasm, and I started bawling. And when I say huge explosive climax, I mean huge. And I just started bawling and crying. And what happened is that I realized what was my energy and what was somebody else's. I was still holding on to energy emotionally. Like people talk about cutting an emotional cord, that stuff is real. I finally completely dismantled it because I was able to see exactly what somebody else was going through and what they were feeling, and how that was not my story, that was their story. So I was able to have compassion for what they were feeling because I felt exactly what they were feeling, but I was also able to decipher the difference between what was their feelings and their emotions and their heaviness and their energy versus what was mine, what was their demons versus what was mine. And it just put me back into equilibrium, or homeostasis also. And more importantly, divine alignment with myself and my own truth. And that's so important for us to clear out in our hearts, in our minds, in our sacral chakra, to know like what is us, and for us to be able to speak our truth so we can actually call in whatever it is that we want. And if you are a woman, I'm going to start teaching what I've actually been doing I'm going to teach, but I'm going to share. I'm going to share a practice and a methodology to help you do the same thing. I'm not going to give out too many details because I've learned from past experiences you have to be careful with sharing, even though I trust my patron community. But I'm going to have an intensive coming up very soon for women where I'm going to share this methodology where you can do some really deep healing through all the things that I'm talking about. All right, so I'm really excited to share that. Also, if you want to book me for a private consultation, or if you want to book me for coaching, that is still available. I am in a space right now where I'm just vibrating and channeling and aligning with something very powerful. And I want to share this healing. It's been a process too. And I'm not just talking about doing teacher training and studying Tantra under my teacher. I am talking about the personal experiences also that I've gone through in the past 2 to 3 years that have gotten me to this moment where I'm ready to share a specific methodology to help women have to bypass years and years of unhealed wounds around sexuality, around their heart space, in order to start to manifest the lives that they really want, and also just to truly liberate themselves and expand their consciousness and sharpen their intuition, because we are stepping into a time where if you don't do that, you are going to feel lost. There's a split that's happening on earth where people are either going to be lost and be continually suffering, or you're going to be on the side where you elevate and transcend that and you take control of your own life and you create your own reality. But there's not going to be a lot of in between. And if you are somewhere in between, you're going to be carrying elitism on your back. You're going to get used and you're going to be stressed out and your body is going to suffer and your mental health and your emotional health is going to suffer. We are living in a time where either you are going to live your best life or you're going to live your worst life. And I just have to warn people of that, because some shit is about to be going down. And it's not to create fear. It's more to invite you to take your spirituality experience, your spiritual life seriously. And you can learn a fun way to do it. It does not have to be dry. It does not have to be boring. It doesn't have to be unrelatable. And I'm about to share more of this as I move forward, because I know this is what I'm being called to do. So if this message resonates with you, please sign up for my newsletter, especially if you're a woman, because I plan on announcing this intensive very soon. Again, I'm taking new clients. I've had a few sign up already, but I'm open to taking more right now. I'm not at capacity yet. And just continue to stay tuned, because it's going to get deeper from here.